The sun was hot that afternoon. The streets were full of people, cars, and noise. Outside a big shopping mall in the city, a woman sat quietly on the steps. Her sari was old. Her sandals were torn. She looked tired, but calm. She didn't beg. She didn't speak. She just sat still, looking at people going in and out of the mall. A few people glanced at her and walked away. Some looked at her with pity. Some ignored her completely. Inside a police jeep nearby, Inspector Arjun Verma, a young and proud officer, watched her with sharp eyes. He was new in the city, just 26 years old. Smart uniform, dark sunglasses, and a confident smile. He loved attention. He loved action. And he believed that power was shown by how loud you are. "Who is that woman?" Arjun asked one of his constables. "Sir, she's been sitting there since morning," the constable replied. "She's not saying anything, just sitting." Arjun smirked. "Disturbing public order," he said loudly. "Let's go teach her a lesson." He walked toward the woman with two constables behind him. People nearby stopped to watch. "Hey, get up!" Arjun shouted. "This is not your house. You can't just sit wherever you want." The woman looked up slowly. Her eyes were deep, full of silence. She didn't move. Arjun got angrier. "You think you can ignore a police officer?" he said. "Get up right now, or I'll arrest you." She didn't speak. She didn't move. She just stared at him. That made Arjun even more furious. "Put her in the jeep," he ordered. The constables looked unsure, but obeyed. They held the woman by her arms and lifted her gently. "Sir, she didn't do anything wrong," one constable whispered. Arjun snapped back. "If I say she did, then she did. I'm the law here." The woman was taken to the police station. At the police station, inside the station, Arjun laughed in front of his team. "She must have thought she could fool us. These types just want sympathy," he said. Some officers nodded. Others stayed silent. The woman was sitting in a corner, still quiet, still calm. An older female constable, Rekha, walked over to her and asked softly, "What's your name, Amma?" The woman replied, "Meera." "Do you have any family, Meera ji?" Rekha asked. She simply said, "I did." Rekha looked into her eyes and felt something strange. There was no fear, no shame, just quiet strength. Just then, a small purse fell from the woman's lap. A photo slipped out. Rekha bent down to pick it up and froze. It was an old black and white photo. A woman in army uniform, medals on her chest, and beside her, a young soldier smiling. Rekha's hands shook. She called out, "Sir, you need to see this." Arjun walked over, still smiling. When he saw the photo, his smile faded a little. "What is this? Some fake photo?" he said. Rekha showed him the back of the photo. It had a name written in clean handwriting. Major Meera Singh, Special Operations Division. Arjun blinked. "This can't be her. She's just a street woman." Meera looked up and said softly but clearly, "You're making a big mistake, son." Arjun stepped back. He felt something shift inside him, but didn't show it. In the courtroom. The next morning, Meera was brought to court for disturbing peace. Arjun walked in confidently, laughing with his lawyer. "This should be quick," he said. Meera stood silently before the judge. "Name?" the judge asked. She replied, "Major Meera Singh. Retired, Gallantry Awardee, mother of Captain Rudra Singh." The courtroom fell silent. Even the judge paused. The judge looked at Arjun and asked, "Did you confirm her identity before arresting her?" Arjun looked confused. She didn't say anything. She looked like a regular vagrant. A court official typed something quickly on the computer. His eyes widened. He turned to the judge and whispered something. The judge nodded and said, "Please bring her service record to the court right now." Outside, reporters were gathering. Something big was unfolding. Back inside, Arjun stood frozen. Meera turned to look at him and said quietly, "Respect is not in the uniform, beta. It's in how you treat people." After the shocking moment in court, there was complete silence in the room. Meera Singh. Major Meera Singh. A name that once echoed in army records. The judge looked serious now. He turned to the police lawyer and said, "I want all information about this woman's service record before the next hearing. If she is who she says she is, this case will take a very different turn." Mira was taken back to the police station, but this time things had changed. She wasn't treated like a criminal anymore. The same officers who had looked down on her yesterday now watched her with quiet eyes. Some looked guilty, others confused. But Mira, she remained calm. Not a single tear, not a single complaint. Whispers at the station. Constable Rika couldn't stop thinking about the photo. She sat near Mira and asked gently, "Ma'am, why didn't you tell anyone who you are?" Mira gave a small smile and said, "I didn't think I needed to. People don't see what's in front of them, they only see what they expect." Reka felt a lump in her throat. She had worked at the station for 15 years. She had seen criminals cry, liars scream, and thieves beg. But Mira, she sat like a mountain, silent, strong, and unshaken. Meanwhile, Inspector Arjun sat in his office, looking at the photo on his table. He had made fun of this woman, laughed at her, called her names. And now, it looked like she was not only innocent, but a hero. Still, his pride didn't let him accept it. She's probably lying. Just an old story to fool people, he told himself. But deep down, he felt something heavy in his chest. The call. That evening, a special call came from the Defense Ministry. "Yes, we know her," the voice said. "Major Mira Singh is one of our decorated officers. She was awarded the Shaurya Chakra and served in 2 classified missions. She is to be treated with full respect." The message spread like fire. The commissioner of police himself called the station. "What the hell is going on there?" he shouted. "You arrested a war hero. Do you have any idea what damage this can cause?" Arjun stood still, unable to speak. Change in atmosphere. The next morning, Mira was given a proper chair, tea, and her medicines by Reka. Another officer offered her a blanket, but Mira did not show any pride. She remained calm and quiet. Arjun walked in and saw everyone around her. He didn't like the feeling. She fooled everyone. He whispered to another officer, "It's all a show." But even he wasn't sure anymore. He looked at her again. This time, something was different. She didn't look poor. She didn't look weak. She looked unbreakable. The judge's order. In court, the judge received Mira's full file. He read out loud, "Major Mira Singh, enlisted in the Indian Army at age 22, served for 18 years, took part in Operation Trinitra and Operation Shadow Wall, received 2 gallantry awards, lost her son, Captain Rudra Singh, in the Battle Sector Rescue Mission." Everyone listened in silence. The judge turned to the courtroom. "This court cannot allow disrespect of national heroes. An internal inquiry will be held on the officers involved in this arrest." He looked at Mira and said with respect, "Madam, we are deeply sorry." Mira stood up slowly. She bowed her head and replied, "I don't want apology. I want change." Public reaction. By evening, social media had picked up the story. News channels ran headlines like, "War hero treated like criminal. Major Mira Singh arrested for sitting silently. Public outrage. #respect Mira trending." People were angry. How could a soldier who gave her youth to the country be treated like trash? Videos of her in uniform began surfacing online. An old clip showed her standing in a battlefield holding a gun, smiling beside her son. The clip went viral. The young cop watches. At home, Arjun sat watching the news with his parents. His father was quiet. His mother looked at him and said, "You called that woman a beggar? Your grandfather used to tell stories about her bravery." Arjun didn't reply. His hands were cold, his throat dry. He remembered Mira's eyes, her silence, her words. "You're making a big mistake, son." The courtroom was packed. Reporters, lawyers, senior officers, even civilians had come after watching the news. Everyone wanted to see the woman who had shaken the entire police department with just her silence. Major Mira Singh walked in slowly, wearing a plain white saree. No makeup, no pride in her walk. Yet, every head turned toward her. There was something powerful about her presence. People stood up with respect. But Inspector Arjun sat in a corner, nervous and unsure. He tried to avoid eye contact with anyone. His confidence was gone. Judge's voice echoed. "Court is now in session," the judge announced. He looked at the files in front of him, then at Mira. "This woman is not a criminal," he said loudly. "She is a decorated soldier. Arresting her without reason is not just wrong. It is shameful." Everyone looked at the police bench. Arjun's name was the first in the list. The judge continued. "We will now listen to what Major Mira Singh wants to say." Mira stood up slowly. She looked around the room. Then, she looked straight at Arjun. Her voice was soft, but every word hit like a bullet. Mira's words. "I didn't come to the city to make trouble. I came to remember my son. It was his birthday." Her voice trembled slightly, but her eyes remained strong. "He died saving people. He died wearing the same uniform that laughed at me yesterday." People in the room went still. "I didn't beg for money. I didn't ask for help. I just sat near the mall where my son loved to go when he was alive. That was my crime." She looked at the judge. "I didn't speak that day because I wanted to see what power meant in today's world. And I saw it." Tears formed in a few eyes in the audience. Arjun's turn. The judge called Arjun to the stand. He walked slowly, head low. His face had no smile now. "Do you accept that your actions were wrong?" the judge asked. Arjun hesitated. He looked at Mira, and then finally spoke. "Yes, Your Honor. I judged her by her clothes, her silence. I didn't check her ID. I didn't even ask her why she was sitting there. I just assumed." The courtroom was silent. "I'm sorry," he added, his voice breaking slightly. Mira didn't move. She just stared at him, calm, quiet. The judge gave a strong look at Arjun. "You are an officer of the law. You are trained to serve, not to humiliate. You didn't just arrest a citizen, you insulted a war hero." The room echoed with his words. Unexpected visitor. Suddenly, the courtroom door opened. A tall man in army uniform walked in, medals on his chest, sharp eyes. He came forward and saluted Mira. "Ma'am, I served under your command in Operation Trinitra. We owe you more than we can ever repay." Gasps filled the room. The officer turned to the judge. "The army stands with Major Mira Singh, and we request that her honor be publicly restored." Even the judge stood up. He nodded respectfully and said, "It will be done." Judgment passed. The judge turned to the crowd. "This case is dismissed. Major Mira Singh is free. A formal apology will be issued by the police department. Disciplinary action will be taken against officers who failed to do their duty." People clapped softly. Some stood in respect. But Mira remained still. "I didn't come for revenge," she said. "I just came to remind the city what respect looks like." Outside the court, as Mira walked out, a large crowd waited. Some offered flowers. Some bowed. Some just watched with tears in their eyes. But Mira didn't smile. She simply walked with quiet dignity. A reporter shouted, "Major Mira, do you have a message for the youth?" She paused. "Yes," she said. "Don't wear the uniform if you can't respect the people it was made to protect." Her words became headlines that night. After the court's decision, Major Mira Singh refused the media interviews. She didn't want fame. She didn't want sympathy. She only wanted to visit one place, her son's last post. It had been 4 years since Captain Rudra Singh had died in action. But for Mira, the pain was still fresh, like a wound that never healed. A train ride full of memories. Mira sat alone in the train, her bag on her lap and her eyes on the window. Outside, the world moved fast. But inside her mind, everything slowed down. She remembered Rudra's laughter. She remembered the day he wore his first uniform. He was just 10 when he said, "Ma, one day I'll wear stars on my shoulders, like you." He kept his promise. By 24, he had become one of the youngest captains in the army. Brave, kind, and always smiling. But war doesn't care about smiles. He died during a rescue mission in the battle sector, saving civilians trapped in the snow. The army said it was a proud death. But for a mother, pride can't warm an empty room. Arrival at the base. When Mira reached the army base near the mountains, a young soldier met her. "Ma'am, welcome," he said, saluting her. "We've been expecting you." She smiled softly. "Thank you." The base commander came out to meet her himself. "Major Mira Singh, it's an honor to have you here." She shook his hand gently. "I'm not here as a major today," she said, "just as Rudra's mother." They all went quiet. She was given a simple guest room, but she didn't rest. She walked straight to the memorial wall, the Wall of Heroes. Rudra's name was written in gold on the black granite wall. Captain Rudra Singh. He lived to serve. He died to save. Mira touched his name with shaking fingers. Tears came silently. No sobs. No words. Just a quiet river running from her eyes. Another young soldier came and stood next to her. "Ma'am," he said softly, "I was with Rudra sir in his last mission. He saved my life." Mira looked at him surprised. "Tell me everything," she whispered. Major Mira Singh was no longer wearing a uniform, but her mission was just beginning. This time, she was not fighting enemies at the border. She was fighting silence. She was fighting forgetfulness. She was fighting the pain that every soldier's mother carried alone. She called it Rudra Foundation, named after her son. Opening day, the small hall was simple. No flags, no cameras, no VIPs. Just a table, a chair, and a board on the wall that read, "For those who waited, for those who never came back." 5 mothers came on the first day. All of them lost their sons in different wars. One of them, Savitri, lost her son in Kargil. Another, Fatima, lost hers in a training accident. None of them had spoken about it in years. They all sat quietly, unsure of what to say. Then Mira stood up. "I'm not here to give speeches," she said softly. "I'm just one of you. A mother who still sets an extra plate at dinner. A mother who still waits for a knock that will never come." There was silence, then tears. But this time, the tears weren't alone. There were hands to hold them, eyes to meet them. The healing had begun. The struggles they faced, over the next few weeks, more women came. Some were mothers, some wives, some sisters. Each had a story. Each had pain. But worst of all, most had no support. Many were living in poor conditions. Some hadn't received their pensions. Others were too scared to ask for help. The system was slow. The government officers gave no answers. Some were even insulted or ignored. Mira listened to them all. She kept records. She made calls. She wrote letters. And when that didn't work, she showed up in person. One by one, she began solving their problems, not as a soldier, but as a mother with a mission. A media storm begins. Word about the Rudra Foundation spread. A local newspaper did a small article. Major Mira Singh fights a new battle for the forgotten families of war heroes. It caught fire. TV channels started calling. Mira refused interviews. She said, "Let the work speak, not me." But one video clip went viral. Mira standing in a government office, shouting at an official who had insulted a soldier's widow. "If you can't respect the dead," she had said, "you don't deserve your chair." That one moment changed everything. Donations started coming in. People offered legal help, counseling, food, and support. The foundation grew from 1 room to 5, from 5 mothers to 50 families. An old enemy returns, but not everyone was happy. Some corrupt officers and officials didn't like Mira digging into files. They tried to stop her. They sent notices. They made threats. They called her troublemaker. One day, someone even broke the window of the foundation office. But Mira didn't stop. She looked at the broken glass and said, "I seen bullets. Glass doesn't scare me." She filed reports, exposed the threats in public, and stood even taller. A letter from the president. 2 months later, Mira received an official letter. It was from the president's office. She had been selected for the nation's honor medal for her work in supporting army families. But Mira didn't smile. She looked at the letter and quietly placed it next to Rudra's photo. "This is yours, Beta," she whispered. "You're still giving me medals, even after you're gone. A young girl's visit. One afternoon, a little girl about 12 years old came to the foundation with her mother. Her name was Ashi. Her father had died in the Pulwama attack. She looked around the room full of photos and medals and said, "Is this place for heroes?" Mira knelt beside her. "Yes, dear, for heroes, and for the people who love them." Ashi smiled. "Then I want to be a hero too." That one line made Mira's eyes fill with tears. "You already are," she said. Rudra lives on. Every day, the Rudra Foundation helped more people. Every letter written, every form filled, every tear wiped. It was like Rudra was still with her, not in body, but in spirit. Through her work, Mira made sure that her son was never forgotten, and neither were others like him. It had been 4 months since Major Mira Singh walked out of that courtroom, strong, fearless, and proud. The video of her case had gone viral. Millions had seen it. Thousands had commented. But one man couldn't forget it. Inspector Rahul Verma. The same cop who had arrested her without reason. The same cop who had laughed in court. The same cop who had called her just an old lady. Haunted by his actions. Rahul sat alone in his apartment, watching the video again. He couldn't stop thinking about her face, calm, sad, and full of dignity. Even when he insulted her, he had made fun of her not knowing who she really was. And now, the whole country knew. He had become a joke online. Memes were made about him. People called him the pewless cop. At first, he was angry, then embarrassed. But soon, he felt guilt. Real, heavy guilt. A visit to her world. One morning, Rahul made a decision. He shaved, wore plain clothes, and traveled 2 hours to a place he had only seen online, the Rudra Foundation office. When he reached, he hesitated outside the gate. What would she say? Would she throw him out? Would she even speak to him? But he took a deep breath and walked in. The first meeting since court. The moment Mira saw him, she paused. She was reading a file, but now she looked straight at him. Calm, quiet, just like the courtroom. Rahul stood still, nervous. "Ma'am, I don't expect forgiveness," he said softly. "I just came to say, I was wrong." Mira didn't reply right away. She simply nodded to the chair across her. "Sit," she said, "and tell me why you're really here." The cop's confession. Rahul sat down slowly. "I was arrogant," he said. "I thought wearing a uniform made me powerful. I used it to show off, to dominate others." He paused. "But after I learned who you were and what you've done, I realized how small I am." He looked down at his hands. "I've never seen someone fight with so much silence, ma'am. You could have destroyed my career. You didn't." Mira listened quietly. He added, "I want to change. I want to help now, if you'll allow me." Mira's response. Mira looked at him carefully. "People change," she said. "Sometimes pain makes them better. Sometimes guilt does." She pointed to a photo on the wall, her son Rudra. "Before Rudra became a soldier," she said, "he was just a mischievous little boy. He broke windows. He lied about homework." Rahul smiled slightly. "But he grew up. He changed. He chose to serve." She leaned forward. "If you're serious, you'll show it. Not by words, by actions." Rahul nodded quickly. "Whatever you ask, ma'am, I'll do it." His first assignment. Mira gave him a list of names. "Start by helping these 3 widows. Their pension cases have been delayed for years." Rahul looked at the files. "I'll go to the offices myself," he promised. "No delay, no excuses." And he did. Within a week, all 3 pensions were cleared. The women came to the foundation in tears, blessing Rahul, hugging him. For the first time, he felt real pride. Not from the badge, but from being useful. A cop's transformation. In the following weeks, Rahul became a regular at the foundation. He helped file cases, made calls to police departments, and even arranged protection for a widow being harassed by land grabbers. People now called him the helpful officer. One day, a young recruit asked him, "Sir, why do you work here every weekend?" Rahul smiled. "Because I once insulted a mother who gave her son to the country. This is how I say sorry. A quiet apology. One evening, the office was almost empty. Rahul brought tea to Meera. Ma'am, he said, placing the cup gently, thank you for not giving up on people like me. She looked at him and said, you gave yourself a second chance. That's the best kind of courage. He nodded, eyes moist. Then, for the first time, he saluted her, not out of fear or duty, but out of respect. Meera returned the salute, smiling. Hope for the future. The Rudra Foundation now had a new ally. Not a soldier, not a politician, but a reformed cop who once made a mistake and chose to fix it. Meera always believed, no one is too far gone. Every heart can change, if it truly wants to, and Rahul proved it. It had been 1 year since Major Meera Singh walked into that police station and changed everything. 1 year since a proud mother stood alone in court and made the whole country stand with her. The Rudra Foundation had grown from a single room to a national network. 20 states, hundreds of volunteers, thousands of families helped. And in every room of the foundation, there was one photo that never changed. Captain Rudra Singh, smiling in uniform. A call from the capital. One morning, Meera received a call from Delhi. It was from the Ministry of Defense. Ma'am, said the voice, we want to honor your work officially. The president will give you the award personally. Will you accept it? Meera was quiet. She thought of her son. She thought of every mother who still cried silently at night. Then she said, I'll accept it, but not for myself, for all the ones who gave more than I did. The ceremony, Rashtrapati Bhavan, was shining under the sun. It was a national event, broadcast live. Soldiers stood in uniform. Politicians sat in front rows. Cameras were flashing. And then, she walked in. Wearing a plain white sari, Meera Singh walked slowly, calmly, towards the stage. Everyone stood up. The president placed the medal around her neck. For courage, for sacrifice, and for service beyond duty. Meera did not smile. She looked at the audience and said in her speech, my son gave his life for this country. I gave my life to protect the memory of sons like him. Every mother who loses a child becomes a soldier in her own way. We fight a quiet war. Every single day. The hall was silent. Some wiped tears. Some clapped softly. Even the cameras paused, unsure whether to zoom in or bow. A march of mothers. After the award, something unexpected happened. Hundreds of mothers, widows, sisters, and families of fallen soldiers came forward. One by one, they lit candles outside the foundation's main building. No slogans, no speeches, just silence and light. Each candle was placed beside a photo. A small board read, they lived for us, we will live for them. Rahul Verma's last duty. Inspector Rahul Verma, now promoted to Deputy Superintendent, had requested one final task. He wanted to organize a memorial for all soldiers lost in the last 30 years. Meera agreed. It was held in an open ground, with giant screens showing names one by one. No names were skipped. No ranks were highlighted. Each name, equal. Each name, honored. Rahul stood beside Meera and whispered, you changed me, ma'am. Rudra changed me. Meera replied, no, beta, you listened. That's where real change begins. A letter from a stranger one day. Meera received a handwritten letter. It had no return address. It read, I am a terrorist's brother. My brother took lives. But I want to save some. I saw your story. I now work in a hospital saving children. Your strength gave me direction. Thank you. There was no name. Meera folded the letter carefully and placed it next to Rudra's photo. Even in death, you're still saving lives, my son, she whispered. Rudra's favorite tree. At the back of the foundation office, there was a mango tree. It was Rudra's favorite. As a boy, he would climb it every summer, throw raw mangoes at Meera, and run away laughing. Meera sat under it now. Old, alone, yet peaceful. She looked up and said, I didn't just raise a soldier, I raised a light, and that light is still shining. A small boy, visiting with his mother, ran up to her. "Auntie, was Rudra your real son?" She smiled and held his hand. "Yes, but now I have thousands of sons. And maybe you will be one too." The boy saluted her, giggling. Meera saluted back.